This is the most tough video which I'm shooting because I don't know how should I explain this video. It is a very tough video, although it is around almost 3 in the morning. Treasury Consulting is heading as a bank. There is no doubt about that. No regulator in the globe can stop us. No regulator. And no country can stop us. That is also a fact. But I remember a story. I cannot name the person in that story, but in 2008, when the world financial crisis happened, almost every bank CEO was in a meeting called by the Federal Reserve Chair. And two gentlemen were not playing, in fact, they were using their mobile phones. Two gentlemen. I know them personally. And when Federal Reserve Chair pointed out in between the meeting that you don't need the funding, one of them, who was senior in the designation and very well known in the banking as far as the Wall Street, in fact worldwide, he laughed and said that I don't need any funding. And history is a witness that even in 2008, this bank was the only bank who not took the funding. History is a witness. His CEO, who is a very well-known, recognized figure, and I have a deep respect to him after Steve Jobs, he said to the Fed chair that business is not all about your growth. Business is all about the falling of your competitor also. And I don't think he was wrong. He was not wrong, because what he said is right, that business is not all about your growth, rather it's all about the fall of your competitor also. You know, every morning I wake up around 10:30 because I sleep very late. You know, it's by the time I sleep it would be 3:30 and sometimes it is 4. When I wake up, I have alerts, you know, on Google, and one of the alert is the bank job cuts. I get messages on the Google that what happened in that the last day about that information. So you know that Google alert is very easy to set. It's complimentary by Google. Thank you to Google. So there is no need to search. Whatever you do, it will come on your Gmail ID. That's very good. You know what I did? Like every time I get the information which not only made me cry but also made me laugh, and sometimes that information made me conducive. So JP Morgan is asking around 2000 plus people to step down from their consumer finance business. Goldman Sachs is now very particular as far as their partner program is concerned, and the limited public information suggests that Goldman Sachs is pruning the partners. While there is no words for HSBC, because even just today we got to know that the employee confidence in the HSBC has fallen to the historic low, and HSBC can again go for a job cuts. Although the number not yet came in the public domain, but I guess, it's my gut feeling that it's not less than 10,000, because the public information suggests that around 2,37,000 is the total workforce HSBC do have right now. And around 90% of the business or the profit of HSBC come from Asia. So I strongly feel that HSBC might wind up Europe business, or maybe sell it at whatever price they get. But time will tell. We don't know as yet. UniCredit, which is HSBC of Europe, is 1 week before they came in the public domain, and they said that they're going to be cutting undisclosed jobs. Today, an article came and said that UniCredit is cutting around 6,000 plus jobs. And the and the negotiation started with the trade unions, in fact, employee unions, because there is a difference. In US, when you cut the jobs, you need to have a severance pay. While in Europe, you need to negotiate with the trade unions, and there are other some statutory guidelines which you need to follow. So you cannot cut the job easily. So my limited knowledge in this domain suggests that the severance pay in case a European bank fire is much more than a severance pay in case an American bank fires. Henceforth, whenever European bank fires, they end up having a huge amount in the form of a severance pay, just like Deutsche. You know, even Julius Baer, which is a private bank, right? They are shedding around 300 plus jobs, and Goldman, JP, HSBC, Credit Suisse, UBS, Barclays, Morgan Stanley, almost everyone is cutting the jobs. Everyone. In fact, Dubai Islamic Bank is cutting around 500 plus jobs. So everyone is cutting jobs, that is for sure. One thing which is surely going to get happen in 2020, and unfortunately Chinese virus will add more fuel in the fire, is the job cut. Because banks do not have the business. In fact, I don't want it to name, but we have a foreign bank in Mumbai, the basically Indian unit of foreign bank in Mumbai, without quoting the name, because it is not yet official. They asked around 600 plus people to step down. Like day before yesterday, I was talking to one of my friend in that bank. He works in the Gurgaon location. And he was telling me, Rahul, you don't trust, around 600 plus people asked to step down. I said, I'm not heard in the media. He said, you will not. Because the way they are shunting the people, they are using a weapon which is infallible weapon, which is known as appraisal. So they give you a rating in the appraisal, and then your HR came and said that, sorry, your rating is below expectation. We never thought about that kind of performance. You need to step down. And I heard about an Indian private bank who is asking their employees to have a cut of around 20 to 25% in their salaries. So I'm not quoting the name, but soon it will come in public domain, you will get to know. So every bank is firing, and previously people used to feel that it is only investment bank who is firing. No, it's not. It is investment bank. In case of JP Morgan, it is consumer finance. In case of Goldman, it is the partner program. In case of HSBC, it is the back office, senior management and all. In case of UniCredit, it covers almost all ranks. So everyone is firing as per his or her preference. But the one ubiquitous or one common is that the firing is happening from bottom till the end. So it is happening, from the bottom to the top. Everyone is getting fired. In all these news, which most of the people do not read, which the business channels do not discuss, which our media do not want it to talk, and by the way, the print media will definitely not talk, we got a news that Deutsche Bank sells $50 billion in asset to Goldman Sachs, and that makes me a little worried. Because Goldman is the largest prop desk of the globe. In this, we will not talk about Goldman and the Goldman role, because if Goldman is buying, one thing I'm sure they would be buying at profit. They would definitely not be buying at loss. That I'm sure, 200%, more than 200%. So it is said that DB sold another chunk of unwanted asset. By the way, I completely disregard with the author, because this is not an unwanted asset. The asset is definitely wanted, but now you wanted to sell, you term this as unwanted. This is wrong, sir. This is definitely a disrespect. And by the way, this is not asset. This is a chunk of derivatives. So Deutsche Bank is not selling the building to Goldman Sachs. It is not asking, come to Frankfurt and buy my building. It is selling a chunk of derivative. Some may be equity derivative, some may be commodity derivative, some may be FX derivative, or some may be hybrid derivatives, maybe credit derivatives. They are selling derivatives to Goldman. And for your information, the biggest thing which we need to understand is that the price at which this is being bought and sold. Because in the market, there are three terms. One is the clean price, one is a dirty priced, and one is the cheapest to deliver, which is shortly known as CTD. But unfortunately, in this hot article, and in fact, when I look at the other reports also, I not got to know what price is being used. In fact, let it be precise that these three are not the only indicators. We have huge list of indicators. But apparently speaking, these three covers multiple stuff. So, Deutsche Bank sold another chunk of unwanted assets to Goldman as a part of the radical restructuring that sees the German bank exit businesses where it be unable to complete. So it sold around 51 billion US dollars assets to the Goldman. And more important thing is that Deutsche Bank wind down unit is cornerstone of the sweeping revamp that Chief Executive Christine Swing unveiled in July. Its goal is to release tied up capital by reducing assets quickly while avoiding deep write-downs on them and so on and so forth. Swing also vowed to cut the leverage exposure, a regulatory measure of the risk in the wind down unit to 109 billion euro, which is 131 billion US dollar. And one news which I was reading about is that Deutsche is currently, and UBS also, Deutsche and UBS are currently in doing a very different kind of exercise that makes me a little frightening, which is that I don't know till what extent you know about banking or till what extent you know how banking works, but in an investment banking space, what happens that investment banking is an independent unit, while IPS, investment platform service is a different unit. While the international financial market or the capital market domain is a separate unit, while the debt and the debt service platform is a separate unit, which is some cases also known as DCM, debt and capital market. So I repeat, in a very big banks just like Deutsche and specifically Goldman and Credit Suisse, UBS and all, there are 4 independent domains. Although 4 is not the comprehensive, it is too much. It depends upon the bank size. Just like in case of Goldman and UBS, there may be more. So, but 4 common is the investment banking, which in turn can have hundreds of compositions, definitely. Just like ICG desk, we have IPS, investment platform service, we have DCM, debt capital market, and we have capital market domain, which is shortly known as C&D. These 4 are prevalent more or less in all banks. So no bank is an exception, more or less you can say, those who are in the investment banking. But happening in case of Deutsche and what happening in case of another European bank, which is something giving me a scary nights, is that they are shunting some part here, part B, part C and part D, and they are amalgamating that. It could have multiple reasons. They might have multiple reasons. Number one, they don't have the business, which I agree. Who will hire Deutsche as an investment banker now? Very difficult to tell. They might, since they don't have the business, they might not need the people. I agree. Not to mention technology is ruling the show. Artificial intelligence, blockchain, virtual reality, machine learning, data science, deep learning. We have specific videos soon. And last but not the least, the bank exposure and the increase in the regulatory capital is forcing banks to reduce the headcount. So apparently, where are we heading? That's an important question. I have not yet added the total amount of job cuts which happened in 2020 effective 1st January, but tentatively I can say around 35,000+ job cuts it's being announced. 35 precise number I do not have, but I think 35,000+ being announced. More important thing, are we heading as a human factor beyond banking, when the machines will run the bank? Machines are, by the way, already running the front office. We know that. Against prediction that back office will wind up by 2022, it is the front office which is getting wind up before 2022. Are we heading towards a banking whereby a very rightful chosen word by Bloomberg, which is, are we heading towards a democratization of trading? Which means that more or less you invest wherever, the return would more or less be same, which is also known as quant trading. That my algo is more or less same than your algo, so the alpha factor is, by the way, nowhere. We need to think about that. All those people, those who are working in the banking, they need to understand one thing very clearly, that technology is ruling the show. Banks are merging up their departments. They do not want more people. In case of few banks, cutting another 10,000, maybe 20,000 or maybe 25,000 jobs in another 2 to 3 years might not be a difficult issue. This week, European banks will start giving their results, and results will come in public domain. And by the way, without quoting the name, multiple European banks already safeguarded themselves, and they said that do not expect a good return this time or good results this time. So they already, raised both of their hands, because they know that American banks in FICC, which is fixed income, currency and commodity, reported a very, very decent results. No doubt about that. So we really need to see and in which direction we are heading. I feel that by the time 2020 might end, this 35,000 plus number might be 4 lakh plus, or maybe 400,000 plus. The way the information is coming almost every second day. We need to look at that holistically. Because where our media is busy, let me show you. This is our media is busy. Ritesh Agarwal. Do I tell you to open the Google and just to see that how many criminal cases or how many FIR being filed against this gentleman? Can I have one sensible person who can say that his company is valued $10 billion plus? But we're not going to discuss about his company, but we know that how media is projecting him that playing the long game. So no FIR, no complaints, no proxy, no Ponzi scheme, 10 billion plus, nothing, forget all this. So the reality is that media is actually busy in these things. But practical is here. Now you need to take up a call. How do you want it to see, and at what position you want it to see in a bank or maybe outside a bank, probably by December 2020. But one thing is sure, that Treasury Consulting, Agriculture Bank, Investment Bank, Hedge Fund and Neo Bank both are 1 year away. All four will come in a phased manner. With this, we thank you very much, and you know my both mobile numbers, which is +91 an Indian code, 9899242978. My alternate number is again +91 an Indian code, 9818485155. You know our fixed income platform, www.fixedincome.global. With this, we thank you very much and have a great time.